Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to ARC's weekly fireside chat. Happy New Year and welcome back. Today we will be talking about defending the reforms and ending extreme sentences, specifically starting in LA, Los Angeles County, making this go statewide and then nationally. That should be the goal. Before I get into introducing our amazing guests, as always, we have two amazing human beings that have experienced extreme sentencing. But first, I'd like to give you a few instructions to our audience. So if you're on a computer, at the very bottom of your computer, you see a ribbon. And at the ribbon, if you'd like to communicate or ask questions, you can put them in the chat box, or you can put them in the Q&A. And as time permits, we will directly ask these questions to our two amazing panelists. And with that said, I want to just say once again, what we're talking about is discussing Los Angeles District Attorney Gascon's justice reform initiatives and why they need to be defended, especially ending many sentencing enhancements, including pursuing three strikes. In the last couple of weeks or so, these initiatives have come under attack by different groups, basically saying that it will weaken our criminal justice system, when in fact it is these extreme sentences have failed our criminal justice system. That's just the honest truth. And we have not one, not two, but three individuals that clearly demonstrate extreme sentences don't work on your screen. And we're just a representative of the thousands of people that are still behind bars that should be given the opportunity for a second chance. With that said, I'd like to introduce Pamela Thompson, ARC Amazing Life Coach. And Pam, could you introduce yourself and tell us what you've been up to in the work that you're doing right now with ARC?
Yes, my name is Pamela Thompson. I'm a life coach at the LA office. So I've been out 2 years now, and I'm doing amazing work in reentry, helping those men and women coming home, returning from long sentences, find the resources that they need to get acclimated back into society. And I love what I do.
Thank you, Pam. Greatly appreciate having you here. And now, John, the dog man, as some people say, this guy's incredible. John, could you introduce yourself? How are you doing today? Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the work you're doing with Paws for Life.
Great. Well, first off, I'm doing great today. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to join you and Pam. I'm the director of programs for Paws for Life Canine Rescue, and we aren't your typical rescue. Besides saving dogs, we focus heavily on rehabilitation in the prison system, and our hashtag, which is saving lives on every level. We're giving opportunity to people that are incarcerated to earn a trade, come home, and then join our team as they become returning citizens back in the community. So we're really proud of the work we're doing, and are dedicated to the opportunities that we can bring to people that are formerly incarcerated.
Thank you, John. And for our viewers, as you can see on the screen, some of these are pictures of the Paws for Life program inside now 3 institutions. It was started in Lancaster Honor Yard. This is an amazing program. If you're interested in a dog, please, at the end of the show, take down John's information. These dogs are trained to do some really amazing things. So there's been some pushback on the momentous reforms that DA Gascon has implemented around reducing extreme sentencing. The two of you, Pam and John, and myself, but more so uniquely you two for a different reason, which we'll get into, have endured extreme sentences. Could you tell us, how did you make your way home to freedom? Pam and then John.
Well, it was a long road, because I never thought that I would ever get out of prison. When Proposition 36 came about, 47 came about, nothing ever applied to me, because I had that violent attachment attached when my crime, I never hurt anybody, I never threatened anybody, and I felt like 33 years to life on a 3-strike sentence for a crime that I did not commit was extreme. So when I started changing my life around in there, stopped hanging around, doing just I lived like I was still on the streets, granted I had a life sentence because I thought I wasn't never getting home. Well, when I changed that mindset and, you know, started getting into groups, facilitating groups, and getting rid of my criminal behavior that I had picked up in there, that's when things started changing for me. And when I seen people go home that was doing worse things than I was, that's when something clicked in my mind. Was like, you need to get your shit together. It's time to get out of here. So once I did that, the free world staff, like my sponsors of the groups that I was facilitating, they seen a change in me and knew my story and knew that I didn't deserve to be in there. So one of the ladies, one of my staff sponsors, she worked in records, and she overheard a conversation saying that they needed to find people that qualify for 1170D1. She didn't know what that was, but she threw my name out there. And lo and behold, they picked me up and did their little investigation to see, because people can say one thing on paper, but they wanted to interview like staff, my supervisors, to see how I interacted and if I had really changed. And I got good recommendations, and lo and behold, here I am.
Here you are. Here you are, my sister, home and doing the work. Okay, John, pause up.
Pause up. That's
pause
right.
Up.
Okay.
Could you tell us how did you make your way home to freedom?
Well, Sam, as I said briefly, I had 6 life sentences. I was sentenced to die in the prison system, and you know what that means is that you essentially are living a life devoid of hope. And when there is no hope, there's often tragic circumstances inside the prison system. So you have to find meaningful purpose in your life. And a major inspiration for me was becoming involved in the Paws for Life program. You know, having people come inside the prison system, like our president and founder, Alex Tonner, she brings people into the prison system so that our participants that are incarcerated can feel love from the outside. People that aren't being judged because, you know, their pants say prisoner on it. And it's really an important thing. And when I experienced that, it made a major change in my life when I understood that that I can be treated with respect and dignity. And if other people are treating me like that, then I need to treat myself with that, and then I need to love myself. And as I learned that, similar to, you know, to Pam's story, through, you know, self-help classes and insight and awareness, as you learn those things and you learn self-value, you start doing things purely for the benefit of becoming a better person. And when you live that life of becoming a better person, and you're fortunate enough that other people start to recognize that, it sometimes opens doors, you know. But Sam, the prison system isn't designed to get enough people out like that. That's why it's the reforms that Gascon is talking about are so beneficial.
So first of all, thank you, John and Pam, for those that don't fully understand. Like, these are enhancements. So what an enhancement does for our audience to understand, if I were to say, go commit a crime, and the term is, say, you have 3 different terms, low, middle, and high. And so let's say it's 3, 6, and 12 years. And they give me the 12-year term. That's what I'm sentenced to. But then they'll say, okay, well, when you were a teenager, you got arrested for stealing. And so they give you an enhancement, which can be an additional 6 years. It can double the term. Basically, what happens is, how many life sentences did you say you had, John?
I had 6.
6 life sentences. So in other words, let's stop and think about it. You have 6 life sentences. So when you finish the first, you die, and then you come back and do the other 5. It's ridiculous. And if we think of it in terms of just humanity, does this tell us, when we talk about we want these long sentences, or I'm not going to say us, when we talk about people that say they want to continue with these long sentences and enhancements, are you telling me that you don't believe that people can change? Are you telling me that we can't believe in second chances? Because I have to disagree if that's what people believe, because just as Pamela and John sit here, these are examples of people who've changed, and myself. And so to throw people away is to throw away humanity. Literally, if people think in those terms. I want to ask Pam, matter of fact, both John and Pam, What do you think about Gascon's ending the pursuit of 3 strikes and sentencing in Los Angeles? Because both of you fell under that, but what do you think specifically about him coming out and saying, we're not going to do that anymore? And about the DAs or those who don't want to follow the direction of the elected district attorney who campaigned on saying that he would do these things, meaning he told us he was going to do these things. We voted for him, and now people don't want to follow his lead. Pam?
Yeah, so I think that's truly amazing what he's doing with the 3 strikes reform. And I know a lot of people feel like he's weakening the judicial system. In my opinion, it's not. So just like me, I was sentenced for assault with a firearm, something I did not do. Not saying that I'm not guilty of anything, but to be sentenced to such an extreme sentence, and that was my second time ever being in trouble. So they carried my first case, which I didn't know at the time. They charged me with 6 counts of armed robbery and 1 attempt, and gave me 5 years priors for each of those counts. That's what led up to me being sentenced to 33 to life. So I think what he's doing is wonderful, and people have in their mind that all these people are going to be released, like, you know, baby killers and things like that under this reform, when it's not even like that. It's stipulations to who's going to be resentenced under the 3 strike law and prior enhancements.
Thank you, Pam. John, what do you think of Gascon's pursuit of ending 3 strike sentences in Los Angeles?
So I think it's absolutely the right thing, Sam, and it's really the beginning step, because we need to get further. We need to end life without the possibility of parole in this country. And I think, you know, if we ask everybody that's in the audience today, can you imagine being defined for the rest of your life by a single act? The worst thing that you ever did, that is who you are forever. You know, where would your life be today? And, you know, thankfully life provides opportunities, but these same opportunities need to be afforded to people that are on the inside. And people need to have a reason to have hope. And Gascon is bringing that hope. And I support the decisions that he's making 100%, not just because it affects my own life, but because it's the right thing to do. People need these opportunities. And he's setting the groundwork for, you know, true reform. We've talked about it for years, for decades in this country, about what reform is. Gascon is a leader in reform, and he's truly showing how it should be done. And the people that are out, like Pam, myself, you, Sam, the people at ARC, the people at Paws for Life, and all the other organizations that are supporting people that are formerly incarcerated, are showing that we can come out and contribute to society with the lowest rate of recidivism in the country. People that serve these long-term sentences, under 0.5% return to custody. So this is absolutely the right thing.
So I want to echo that. Thank you, John, and thank you, Pam. I want to echo that. Recidivism rate being the lowest in the country. Let's think about that. The lowest in the country, but you don't want to let people out. What does that tell you? What is the logic behind that? If you know this group of people that you have labeled as serious or violent offenders, and that's the term that they use, but if you release them, they never go back. They never commit another crime, or the percentage is so low, it's minuscule, less than 1%. Why would you not say this is what we want? These are the people we need to be looking at and be taken into consideration and be given an opportunity for a second chance. And so literally, collectively, as people view this, we need you to lift up your voices in all different ways, whether it's on social media, whether it's voting, whether it's writing a letter, whether it's making a phone call and letting District Attorney Gascon know that we support these changes. We want these changes. And we need these changes. If you think about it, why do we want to warehouse human beings? If anything, we want to give human beings the opportunity to become the best version of themselves and then come back and share that with the rest of society. John, you were in prison serving multiple life sentences for years. what did like in your darkest moment, darkest time, what did that feel like to you?
You know, Sam, in my darkest time, I was living without hope. Truly, I contemplated suicide. I went through, you know, some very difficult times of depression. You know, being placed in administrative segregation wrongfully. You know, there were times that were, you know, I hit actual rock bottom and wasn't sure which way I wanted to go. And, you know, I was inspired by so many people to keep going. When I first met you, Sam, I didn't have even a glimpse of hope that I would ever come home. And then here it is to have somebody, you know, like you coming in to visit and see us and show like, hey, brothers, don't give up. Like, you know, there are these opportunities for people, even if you know, even if you didn't believe they were real, you came in and gave like tangible evidence that it's possible for people to come home. When, you know, 10, 12 years ago, if you were sentenced to life, or especially, you know, somebody in my position with 6 life sentences, there was no hope. So it's really important that we give this glimpse of hope and provide people with these opportunities so that they continue to grow and be motivated to become their best selves.
Thank you, John. Pam, what did it feel like for you to be sentenced for such a long time and believing that at one point you would never come home? What did it feel like?
Like John, I went into a deep depression. I was on meds because I couldn't fathom my life over at the age of 23 and coming back with a life sentence, because I had did 4 years prior to that and was out a year and a half, and to come back with a life sentence, I felt that embarrassment, shame, and I just went to a depression. And I didn't attempt suicide in there, but I had the suicide thoughts. But me being so connected to my higher power, I could not do it myself, but I had visions of paying someone to do it for me. That's how I wanted to end it. I visualized how he was going to find me and everything. But to make a long story short, those that really cared about me, seeing that I was in that deep depression and literally came in there, because I wouldn't come out. I didn't shower. I didn't do anything. I just laid in my bed crying. They threw me in the shower, bathed me, did all that, got me dressed. And that day taught me a valuable lesson that you have nothing to be embarrassed about, because you came back. You didn't do what you were sentenced to. So why are you in this depression like this? However, from that day forward, that gave me hope that people cared about me, and I had to come up out of that slump that I was in. And with that being said, I just put, you know, one foot forward every day and just, you know, live my best life. And when I seen the ones coming in that was younger than me with these extreme sentences, I kind of took them under my wing, because I knew what it felt like to come here with a life sentence, not knowing if you're going to ever go home, you know? And yeah, I just want to give those left behind hope that if they get their lives together and start that rehabilitation, they too can be out here like us. And I'm getting a lot of feedback from the because everybody in there know that I'm a life coach now, from the brochures that's coming in there. So I'm getting emails saying, you know, how proud they are of me, and they can't wait to get out here and do the things that I'm doing, you know, with helping people come back home.
So thank you, Pam. Like, I love the fact that they see you on this on the stuff that we're sending in, because it's important. I never saw a life prisoner come back inside prison, and when people like John tell me like what it meant to him, like I continue to go back in and continue to do this work, because I know how important it is to bring hope inside facilities. I know how important it is for people to believe and understand that they have the opportunity and that they actually do control their destiny and where they land if they just start taking those steps right now today. Both of you, John and Pam, came home under 1170D, which gives us a sense that you are the exceptions. Can you talk about what that process is, John, and then Pamela?
Yeah, so you know, 1170D is a very unique process in the court system, and it's part of the penal code, and it's for, there are different versions, but 1170 D1 is for exceptional conduct. And it basically says in the penal code that you have proven that you have rehabilitated beyond the point that you present any type of risk to the community, and that you've transformed your life and would actually be a benefit to society. And that sparks a 5-level review throughout the Department of Corrections, and ultimately sends a letter back to the sentencing court asking that they review who you are today. Like, let's put past your previous sentence and see if that sentence is still appropriate today. And I think for me, this is a really important thing. It was groundbreaking. I was the very first one in the state of California, and the judge said to me, you can open up the floodgates with this, or you can shut it down. You have an opportunity for real change. And I told him that very day in court, I told him, I'm going to make you proud. And he said, you already have. That's why I'm letting you out. And so, while 1170D is this valuable tool, it's not used the way it should be. And, since then, district attorneys now have the capability to release people under 1170D, and they're not using it. And so I think the fact that Gascon has come out and said, I will review sentences, I will stop using the three strikes law, I will stop using these enhancements. It's so important that we support Gascon's decision in this, because ultimately what Los Angeles County is doing is they're leading the way with the largest prosecutorial office in the country. And they're going to show other counties, this is how it works. And it's going to help bring our brothers and sisters home, that are from LA County. And then it's going to start to spread, because the country is going to see this is what absolutely works.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. Pamela, for you, you came home under 1170D. What was that process like for you? Because again, people may tend to say, well, we're exceptions. And I always say, I'm not a unicorn. You don't say a horn going out my head. I'm not unique. There are thousands of people just like me that are inside that just haven't been given the opportunity. And so for you, what was the process like? And also to dispel the myth that there are not others like us that are waiting to be given the opportunity inside.
So the opportunity for what it was like for me is it was truly amazing. For one, so the whole process took like maybe 3 months for them to interview everybody, get my C file, and do all that. When I went out to court, I was no model inmate. Like I said, I lived as if I was still on the streets. So when he read my C file and did all that, he commented like, you got a very rough starting off coming to prison. And, he got a few laughs out of the audience or whatever. But he said, after reviewing your file, for you to make an impression on this DA, that says a lot about your character, because he's a hard ass and he agreed for you to be released. So that says a lot about your character and how much you changed your life. So that made me feel good for somebody to recognize from where I came from to where I am now, the changes that I made for myself. And it's a lot of people that I left behind that are in there for not even serious crimes. They're holding their past. They're like first charges against them. Like I have a friend now, she's battling COVID right now. And her charge for 3 strikes was a bad check that was less than $900. And so she's still fighting to come home. So me is an example for them, a good example that they can have hope, because I was considered a violent offender and I was released. So that gives a lot of them hope that's left behind.
Thank you, Pam. So there's a question in our chat box, and I definitely want to address this. So the question is, how do we prevent anti-reform campaigns from using the stories of people like the 3 of you as proof that the long sentences cause people not to recidivate? I'd like to hear what the 3 of you want to say about what would have helped you transform your lives sooner perhaps much sooner, whether in custody or on some form of probation. So I'll let the two of you go first, and then I'll close it out. Pam and then John.
I'm trying to see what the question was again.
So the question is, how do we prevent anti-reform campaigns from using the stories of people like us three, as proof that it was the long sentence that caused people not to recidivate? And so they like to hear what we were saying. And is there something that will help us? Now, first of all, understand that Pam was convicted of something that she didn't commit, a commitment offense that she did not commit. And so, but the first commitment offense, what would have helped you sooner turn your life around if it was available?
Well, if what was available were to turn my life around sooner would, that's a hard one. So I was convicted in the most prejudiced county there was. With that being said, I was offered to go to juvenile hall, but they wouldn't send me for some reason, because they felt like I should have been sitting as an adult, which they did sentence me as. But I'm getting real nervous right now. Sorry.
It's all right. We can come back to you.
Okay.
Okay. We'll come back to you, John.
No, understandably, it's a really difficult question, Pam. But here's the basis of it. As I went to work on myself almost immediately, Sam, and it's not the sentence that is causing reform, rehabilitation with us. It's about providing opportunities for people, out in the community that are struggling, and providing opportunities inside. Sam, 15 years ago, there wasn't a rehabilitative program inside the prison system in existence. It's the changes that we're making, bringing community-based organizations inside the prison system that are making a difference. And so, I'll give you, just as one example, Paws for Life, Canine Rescue, we're providing that opportunity to people regardless of how long you've been in prison. So that you come in, you can be a juvenile offender, you could come into the prison system, and I want to offer this life-changing program to you immediately, so that you don't have to sit 20 years in prison, 25 years, 30 years in prison to start your rehabilitation process. These programs weren't available to people historically. So, the department is now seeing that, outside organizations can provide better sanctions of rehabilitative programming than the prison system themselves can provide. And, just like Pam is sitting there and I'm here and you're there, Sam, we're evidence that these programs are working. And so now that CDCR is working in conjunction with community-based organizations, I think we can provide these opportunities to people as soon as they come in. So these long, barbaric, extreme sentences aren't necessary. They don't need to be part of the process. Rehabilitation needs to be part of the process.
So thank you, John. So let me say this. For me, my change came despite of the Department of Corrections, not because. I want to make that real clear. When I was in prison, we didn't have college programs. The bachelor's degree that I earned while inside, I had to figure out how to manipulate the system just to be able to go to school for post-secondary education, because Pell Grants had been killed. And oftentimes they wouldn't even allow us to have college books because we weren't supposed to have them. So my change came despite the system, not because of the system. I remember at one time being on a yard in Soledad where there were no programs, not even Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous. Neither one of those exists. There was no programming. We on the inside decided to start creating programs because we wanted to change, not because the system was giving us these opportunities, but because we wanted to. We wanted to become the best versions of ourselves. We didn't know how to do this, but we knew we wanted something better, not just for ourselves, but for our families. And it wasn't the long sentences. It was because we wanted to be better. The sentence had nothing to do with it. In fact, I always say I went to the board 9 times. I honestly believe my 5th board hearing is when I should have been released. But I wasn't. And I'm fine with that. I hold no ill will about that. But the fact is, the long sentence was not the reason why I changed. In terms of what could have been what could have helped me sooner, resources. You see, when I grew up in South LA in the 80s at the height of the crack epidemic, when LA was considered the gang capital of the nation. Now imagine a kid going to school and you have to fight 3 or 4 different gangs. You don't have after school programs. You don't have any of these programs that help kids if you have a single parent that's working. So what do you do? So again, I would say resources. Even right now, our communities are under-resourced, and those are communities of color. And so probation did me no good. I was on probation at one time. It did me no good. I was not plugged into any type of resources. Sports and things of those nature, and chess clubs and science clubs and all those things did not exist in my community. And so if all of those things were available to a younger generation, at promise youth, as we call them now, then we could change the system. But in terms of this specific question, anti-reform campaigns that would like to use our stories, they can't use my story because the reforms that we've created now, people like John, people like Pam, people like myself, going back in, running these programs, those are created by people that have been released. So let's not get it confused as if this was something that was being done to help us. These were things that actually were created by people that were inside. In fact, the Hope and Redemption team is based on programs that we run. Literally, one of our Avatar program is based on a program that we developed in 2009 while we were still inside. And so I just want that to be clear. We succeeded despite the system. And by going back inside and creating these programs and making sure that they're college programs, now the system is beginning to operate in a fashion that we believe it should be in, not the way it was designed to work. The way that the system was designed to work was to punish and crush you. We're changing that system to make it one that builds people and helps them become the best versions of themselves while healing them. So I just want to answer that question because I thought it was really important. I missed a bunch of other questions because I was focused on that question. But John,
yeah.
So all the work you're doing in the community, because I see you all the time. You're on airplanes with dogs, and you're going up the 5 highway, and I see you. Can you tell us more about the amazing work of Paws for Life and some of the impact? Give me 1 or 2 stories of impact that it's had on families in the community.
Well, you know, the impact that I'd really like to highlight, well, for sure, the dogs are coming out, they're changing lives. We provide service dogs to military veterans diagnosed with PTSD, children with autism. We provide service dogs to first responders in fire departments that are suffering trauma. But what we're really doing, Sam, is giving opportunities for people to heal, whether it's the recipient of a dog or it's a Paws for Life participant coming home or anybody else being released into the community. We're here with open arms to support people. And Paws for Life is about to open up a people and pet innovation center in Mission Hills, California. And we're going to be staffed by formerly incarcerated people. And we want to show, just like ARC does, that these are valuable members of the community that have a lot to give. And so we're really excited about this opportunity. And you know, our guys come home and they prove themselves day after day that they're of great value. I mean, I'm shocked that when people are given this type of support, I shouldn't say I'm shocked. I'm so pleased, you know, that when people are given support when they come home, when they're showed that their lives are of value, when they're allowed to become, you know, tax-paying citizens and given the ability to vote and you know, truly accepted by the community, how well people are doing. And you know, I don't want to keep circling back to this, but this needs to be opened up to so many more people. And if it wasn't for the reforms that George Gascon is offering, this wouldn't happen. And you know, Los Angeles is a leader in so many ways. They were a leader in the tough against crime era, you know, which you know is proven that it doesn't work. And now Los Angeles has a chance to prove that true reform can be a success to our community. And I'm excited for what this is going to bring.
Thank you, John. Pam, now you're doing reentry work as a life coach, as a shining life coach, because I do get reports of people like, we're glad you hired Pam. It's about time. You should have done this, et cetera, et cetera. For you, what is it that you like about your job?
What I like about my job is helping those coming home, because I was once in a situation. So a lot of them have been gone for like 30 plus years since they was a teenager. So they don't know anything about how to sign up for Medi-Cal, get their public benefits, get their ID, the necessary documents that they need. So that's what I'm there for. Whatever resources that they need, then I'm here to connect them to it. Whether if it's, learning how to do a resume with the jobs that they learned in prison, because they feel like, well, I never worked before. No, you can use what you work for in prison and create a resume. So I love what I do, helping people coming home. I was once in their shoes. So
that's right. And just so you know, we love having you as one of our life coaches to help people come on. I think it's vitally important for people to be able to see people like them and understand, like, we have a community and we support each other. I think that's one of the most important things that we can give back, is guiding people in their first steps of transitioning from incarceration. And when we talk about that, I also want to give a shout out, though he's not here, Carlos, who runs our Ride Home program, like literally picking people up from prison when they're first released. And Pam, you've done some. If you check out our social media, like, these are pieces to a larger puzzle, so to speak, that's necessary to help people as they transition from incarceration. So wanted to ask a different question, and this is something that has been in the chat also. How do we support Gascon? What is the best ways for us to be able to support Gascon's reforms? John, Pamela, I'll go first. And what I believe in, one, Gascon was voted in. He's the voice of the people in LA County. We voted him in. And so when you vote for a person, and they ran on a campaign, and we did the DA's town hall meeting in Lancaster Prison, and Gascon, District Attorney Gascon, told us what he was going to do. Yeah. He told all of Los Angeles County what he was going to do, and Los Angeles County voted him in. And so how do we support that? For me, part of it is being able to do the fireside chat, but also making sure that I write to my board of supervisors and let them know that I support these changes and that they were a long time coming. If both of you, John, if you like to, and then Pam, you like to, different ways that we can support Gascon.
I think definitely writing, politicians in Los Angeles is an important step. Also reaching out directly to, Gascon's people and asking, like, what ways can I best support the work that you're doing in criminal justice reform? What can I do out in the community to make a difference? And, for people that aren't sure, I would encourage them to reach out to you, Sam, so that you can give them ideas about ways we can best support it. And just so, like, every person that knows, and especially people that are formerly incarcerated, the best thing, that you can start by doing is living a life that is beneficial of others that would possibly come out. So not everybody has the voice of an advocate or has the avenue to advocate. So live your best life and be an example to show that this is working. And I think, the other thing is, like, as community-based organizations, we need to find an avenue that would best support Gascon's reforms, and looking to the leadership of ARC is a good way to do that.
Absolutely. Pamela?
I agree. Holding spaces like this, bringing awareness to it and reaching out to politicians, but most importantly, the board of supervisors, writing those letters and getting family and friends involved, getting everybody involved that's possible to see that the changes he's making will be beneficial to those that are sitting in there, that, their crimes are not violent or anything like that. But spaces like this is very needed to bring that awareness.
Absolutely. And so in the chat box, one of the things that is asked by Wendy is, what about other counties? I'm from San Diego, and changing criminal laws here seem few and far in between. Wendy, what I would say is, one, part of our job here is people that live in Los Angeles, and as people come home. So first, just to kind of give some clarity around Los Angeles. 1/3 of the entire prison population comes to Los Angeles County. We are the biggest county of people that are committed to the Department of Corrections. So part of our job that we do, all three of us here, and other organizations that are in this work, is to make sure that people have realistic opportunities and resources, so that as these changes are made, we can be the example that San Diego County and other counties can follow. So part of it is just making sure that resources are available. Even in your community, if you're not in Los Angeles, if you know someone who owns a business, if you know someone who has opportunities for people that are coming home, find ways to connect. If it's Paws for Life, ARC, New Way of Life, Amity, any organization, just let them know, hey, I want to be able to help, because part of this is building a broader network of people and organizations that can assist people that are transitioning home.
Yeah, Sam, I want to jump in on that too with a great point. Like, Gascon ran on this platform, and on this platform, he was elected by the people of Los Angeles. And this is going to be a successful platform. And so when the district attorney goes to run for office in San Diego, the people in San Diego are going to have this same opportunity to put somebody that's progressive in office. And it's really going to come down to, uniting the vote and getting people. And our country is moving towards that, with the changes, and the people have they've spoken loudly with the change in the administration that's about to happen and what just happened in Georgia. People are fed up with these archaic laws, and these laws that are perpetuated by the guards unions, the laws that are perpetuated by the police unions and district attorney's office. The people have spoken, and it's time for change, and that change will go over to other counties as it grows.
Absolutely. So with Gascon already announced that he was going to start reaching out to different DAs in other cities and states or whatnot. And up north, I already know that DAs are already pulling people out to be resentenced under the enhancements. So that's a good thing. It's already trickling down already.
So some counties are following this. Mm-hmm. I want to, before we close out, I want to answer a question that's come up in the chat quite a few times. And it's about what's being done about people getting COVID-19 inside of prisons. Organizationally, in conjunction with a coalition of other organizations, we have been advocating for a number of different things. One, to make sure that the vaccine is available in phase 1 for people that are incarcerated. 2, to continue with the rolling releases that were started back in August, meaning that people should continue to be released 6 months in advance, as long as they fall into the categories that were listed. Although we don't necessarily agree with those categories, because none of us would fall in those categories if we were inside. I would be considered a violent offender, and so I would not be considered. Same with John, same with Pamela. But we're asking that those reforms continue as far as the rolling releases, and that more people are considered for 1170D in order to create space. So that's part of what we're doing as an organization and in a broader coalition to advocate for those things. We're also going to be working on a PSA, a public service announcement for people that are inside when that vaccine is available, and making sure that they have all of the material and information to understand how the vaccine was developed, how it functions, and what, if any, risk factors there are. That's part of what we're doing. And also, I want to mention to you that next week we'll be hosting the American Medical Association doctor to discuss the distribution of the vaccine inside institutions and prisons. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing next week. But we are advocating consistently for a decrease in the population inside the Department of Corrections, more PPE, being able to make sure that people are safe. Trust me, we have not let up on the gas on this at all, and we will not stop until everyone inside is safe.
Yeah. That's a great thing, Sam. It's really, we really have to focus on educating folks inside too. Hopefully that will be encouraged to make informed decisions about taking the vaccine. I'm on a panel with the prison law office looking at best ways that we can get that information in. And I was happy to hear the other day that you guys are going to do some PSAs, which include people that are currently incarcerated. Hopefully that can be looked upon as leaders through the incarcerated community, and that they can see people that are outside that are formerly incarcerated or in other leadership positions throughout the community that are encouraging them to take the vaccine. Because, you know, in order for you to come home and become part of this community, you have to survive this deadly pandemic. So we're really hoping that people make good informed decisions and that they can get that vaccine. It's my understanding within the next couple of weeks, it will be broadly rolled out through the incarcerated community. And I'm really, really excited about that.
That's also what I've heard. And just so you know, our women's and non-binary department has pushed. And so on this same PSA will be Piper Kerman, who produced Orange is the New Black, and she's also formerly incarcerated. And so just know, like that's one of the things we do at ARC. We want to make sure that our women and non-binary community members are represented and are heard, and make sure that they also, like, we're not going to allow for them to be left behind. As I've heard before, oftentimes women are the last to receive things. No, we want this to be rolled out broadly in all the institutions, and we're advocating to make sure that everyone is safe. We would please check our social media, because that's where we put a lot of our updates on. This letter that we'll be sending, or the information we'll be sending inside will be posted shortly. It's basically explaining what the vaccine is, and so as soon as we have that, we'll post it. It's a collaboration of another number of organizations that put this together with infectious disease doctors to make sure that the information is correct that's being sent inside. With that, I'd like to ask Pam, last thoughts for our audience before we close out.
Yeah, I just want to say, for those that's watching and have family that's still locked up, encourage them to keep their head up and know that their time is coming. Keep a clean record, you know, because they looking at rehabilitation as far as this resentencing folks. So make sure they have a clean, you know, clean record. But we live in proof that it can be done.
It can be, absolutely. Thank you, Pamela. John, last thoughts for our audience?
Yeah, you know, my last thoughts, as I'm seeing names go across the screen for people that are putting in the chat box, a lot of names that I'm very familiar with, the wives of my brothers that are incarcerated, that have been holding it down for them out here in the community. And, you know, my heart breaks for the families of loved ones that are incarcerated. And, you know, we wish that we could, like, individually help every single person. The best thing that we can do is, like, we join hands out here in the community and broad scale advocacy work, where we're trying to envelope everybody that is, you know, stuck in life without the possibility of parole and 3 strikes and suffering from this pandemic, where we can, you know, put this umbrella out where people feel like they are part of our community. And I'm really grateful to be part of this chat today, so that, you know, people know that we're holding space for your loved ones when they come home. There's room for every one of them, and we will provide the support that people need, and the network for those that are becoming our returning citizens. And I want to thank Pam for her incredible story, and for sharing, and for finally getting to meet her. And Sam, always, it's incredible to share space with you and have this opportunity.
Thank you, John. No, the pleasure is mine. So just so y'all know, Pam and John have been trying to find each other for a while, because they were 1170D is unique to them. And so this is, they finally connected where they could communicate, because I think it's important as we build this community. There's so many different things that we have that are similar, that crosses over. My closing thoughts for our audience are, reach out to other organizations and encourage those organizations to work in collaboration with other organizations. We need a coalition that stands together. We may not agree on everything, but we do know we want our loved ones to be safe. We want a smaller carceral system. We want less people in prison. We want all of the things that District Attorney Gascon is now pushing forward, and we need to collectively support that. So reach out and ask organizations to work together with each other. We're stronger united. Collectively, we're stronger. And we need to be able to stick together regardless if we agree on everything or not. With that said, I want everybody to stay safe. Please practice social distancing, wear a mask. And remember, next week, we'll be talking about COVID-19 with medical professions and the rollout and the distribution in prisons and jails and detention center. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, John. Two of my favorite amazing human beings for joining the show. Take care. God bless and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Where my music at? Guess we're not